Hello arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade on Sunday night, talking home arcade. Hope everyone's having a good night. Back after a long period of time here. It feels like I've been gone for about a month or more, but it feels like it's been forever. I was here last week, but it was just a test. We were just making sure all the equipment was good, sound was good, video, all that. And it came through, and I just left the settings the way they were. So hopefully we're good. Let's say hi to everyone who's here. First is Wish I Was a Rock Star saying, hey Biggie, glad you're back on. I'm glad to be back as well. I got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of stuff I can share with you guys that, you know, I feel like is going on, and you get a different opinion, a different viewpoint on a lot of this stuff, which is always good. Papa Brad's Gaming is saying, Biggie D is back. I am back, baby. Let's go. I am back. Woman in the War says, thank God you are here. Only one on is 13-cent, Fox. So it went from 19-cent to 13-cent. Oh, man. Yeah, so he's streaming tonight. I also saw the Cornercade will be streaming tonight. So plenty of home arcade content for everybody. Wingo is here saying, hey, all, good to see you. Or is it 17-cent? I don't know. 19-cent, 17, 13. We'll just call them 19K Fox. But let's see here. Papa Brad's Gaming says, congrats on the top 10 in Flipper Friends Wingo. So they're in the Flipper Friends tournaments on @Games, and top 10 for Wingo. So that's really cool to see. Also, we're going to be talking about the pinball tournament that I had for February. Normally, I'm really good about making sure we've got all that on the website, and I've kind of been lacking and slacking, I should say, on updating the website for the tournament this last month in February. But we'll go over the results tonight, and then I'll get that done early this week, I should say, and I'll make a coin for our winner, which was Papa Brad's Gaming. We're going to go over his score here in a moment, but man, he's got the Addams family down. This guy knows how to play that table for sure. CR Cool King 36 is here. So good to see everyone. Let's get into some subjects. Let's just get right into Arcade1Up to start with, right? Let's just do that. Let's see. I'm going to turn audio off, and I should probably give credit to this person because we're going to be using someone's video, and I want to make sure you know, we give credit for that. So let me get that pulled up here real quick before we pull up his video, just because I think that's always an important part of sharing someone else's content, is making sure that you give them credit. So here it is. It's Mighty Comics and Collectibles is what we're going to be looking at, a video from him today. And I want to make sure you can find his channel. So I'm going to put him in here for us to go check out and subscribe. And I'm going to put him in the chat. So there it is for everybody to go check out. So this is his video from Toy Fair just last month. Yeah, I guess it was last month, right? February. So let's take a look at it here. All right, so when he starts this video, he starts out with just the small stuff. This is their booth at Toy Fair. When you first get there, it's going to be these like small handhelds that you can get at like CVS or like you know, Target or Walmart there by the cashier's desk. These are like low cost, maybe like $20, $30 tops for these little handhelds. These are great little gifts. I think, you know, they're cool little ideas. If you're into arcades, you like these licenses, you want to share that stuff with the friends and family that, you know, may not buy this stuff, but you don't want to spend a ton of money. Well, you can get them one of these or a gift exchange or something like that. These are perfect. They've already been doing this well before they bought Arcade1Up. So back when Basic Fun, before they even got into the Arcade1Up purchase, they were doing this well before. And this is something that they're going to continue. Now, whether it's going to be under the Arcade Classics line or now it will be under the Arcade1Up name, that we don't know. We don't know if they're going to get rid of the Arcade Classics name altogether and just go 100% with Arcade1Up, or are they going to have some stuff, you know, under the Arcade Classics name, some stuff under Arcade1Up? We don't know any of that yet, because at Toy Fair they didn't really elaborate on that, and they didn't really say. And everything's kind of a mix. And what you'll see in this video is everything's a little bit of a mix of those two brands. But I'm sure they're going to ideally want to put everything under Arcade1Up, and that's what I've heard and what they've been saying. So they got the Tetris license, which is cool. Maybe we get a Tetris Arcade1Up 3/4 scale or Supreme, because they do have that license. And then they got these countercades here. These they've always had. These are the newest line of countercades, which have a little bit, I would say, cheaper screen. These are not as good of screens as like the ones we've been buying over the years, I would say, for the Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man Class of 81. But if you want to get one, they're still making them, which is good. They haven't, you know, quit making these. They're just not putting as good enough screens, I feel like, that these games deserve in these countercades. So I haven't been interested in them. Now these are the bigger ones. So they have like two lines of countercades. They have a smaller one, and then they've got these bigger ones. And I don't yet know if they're going to differentiate these countercades, because they are different sizes. You're going to see they're noticeably different in size. So they really have to have two line of countercades because of that. And they've got the WrestleFest and they've got the Centipede so far. And then they've also got a Tempest, but I didn't see the Tempest here. And then they're going to continue with the Partycade line. So if you go to Sam's Club or Costco, they're likely to carry these Pac-Man, put them on the wall, Partycades. But if you guys remember, they've got the Defender Partycade. They've got all kinds of really good ones they've done in the past. So are they going to bring all those back or just the Pac-Man? We don't know, but they definitely are going to continue the Partycade line. You're also going to see some logos here on the left, which is cool because it gives you an idea of like the licenses they already have for this year. And we're seeing the WWF, the Pac-Man, the Miss Pac-Man, Bandai Namco, and Sonic the Hedgehog. It doesn't say Sega, it says Sonic the Hedgehog. And then WB, Warner Brother Games. So Warner Brothers is going to be Mortal Kombat, you know, all the Midway games. So Joust is a really good one that they could bring from if Midway still owns that one. Root Beer Tapper would be one that I'd like to see them do if they're going to do a classic arcade under that license, Midway. But I think everything WB is your Midway games. So, think those games, those are possible this year, but more than likely next year. Let's be realistic here. A lot of this stuff is going to take some time. Even the Sega Sonic the Hedgehog that we saw, which we're about to talk about, that's still ways away. That's still this fall. So anything new beyond that, it's probably going to be even longer, and just to be realistic with you guys, early, next year, probably before we see anything else. Video Game Vegas is here saying, hello, Biggie D. Pre-ordered the New Wave Toys Black Hole, Golden Tee, Crystal Castles, and the Skee Ball. And I have pre-order fatigue. Yes, so that's the poll we've got going on right now. We've got 9 votes so far. It's a simple question. Did you pre-order? And these are your pre-orders that were out there, last year. Wonderland Pinball, Iconic Arcade, Glen's FU. Did you pre-order any of these? Or do you fall under, I don't pre-order, and you didn't get any of them? And it looks like of 9 votes, we've got 89% didn't pre-order. Only one person in the audience so far tonight has pre-ordered, and they got the Wonderland Pinball. So vote in those polls. Let us know what you think. Devastator Omega saying the Partycades and Countercades, if done right, are easy buys for me. I've enjoyed the Miss Pac-Man Countercade I got. I got it at a good deal. I think I only paid like $80 for it. Really good deal. And I like it. It doesn't have the lit marquee or any of that, but it does have the blue artwork, which, my Miss Pac-Man behind me had the black. So I like having that Countercade with the blue artwork. It just offers me a little something different. Don't really play it much, but I like the look of it. So maybe you can find like a arcade you can't buy in the 3/4 scale size. You can get it in the Countercade, kind of fill that void for a cabinet that you may have wanted in these. So they're going to continue all these again. Not much outside of what we saw, though. So we don't know newer games that are coming. We don't know what name these are going to be under. And we don't know, like, on the Countercades, what different lines are they going to have, because they have different sizes. So it can't be all one line of Countercades now. It looks like they're going to do Golden Tee again. So they've got this license still. I assume with Arcade1Up, when they bought the rights to Arcade1Up and they purchased these assets, they basically can probably make anything that Arcade1Up has made recently in the last, I'd probably say like 2 or 3 years. They could probably make no issues because Arcade1Up's already been actively making them, so they just got to make more. So Golden Tee is going to definitely fall under that. Also, that Buck Hunter Deluxe, the T2 Deluxe, the Pac-Man, Class of 81. All those you're going to probably see again towards the end of this year. Get remade, high production, high produced lots, sell lots of those again. Now they put a lot of development into this Return of the Jedi Atari. So I'm assuming they're going to continue with this line because they put so much money into it. But they could, I think, probably revert back to the original Arcade1Up Star Wars if they wanted to on their next big production run, which may be better for them in the long run, just to go back to what they were originally selling, because those seem to do better and were more well received, where the original, which would have been, with the riser and all that, that Atari Star Wars, that would have been, I think, if they're going to remake some more of those, that would be the route to go, rather than do more of these Return of the Jedi. Because I don't think people were happy with the power of the PCB. The emulation of the games weren't that great. So, just go with that original. If they're able to produce more of those original Star Wars, there may be some licensing we don't know that could prevent that. But if they're able to dip back into their old collection of Arcade1Up cabinets they've made over the years and really make anything they want again, which it sounds like they can, then I would do the original Star Wars again. And then they've got the Pac-Man. It looks like these, so from CES 2023 is when these got announced. And it was the Pac-Man Class of 81, the Miss Pac-Man, if you remember that, and the Casino-Cade. And these have been really good sellers for them. It's been a really good form factor. Everything's gone great. So they're going to keep making these, obviously. If it's selling, they're going to keep making them. Centipede as well. Class of 81, Galaga. This is the Galaga Vault Edition. Looks like they're going to produce some more of those. I think that's a good idea. And then we're going to get to this Sega Sonic the Hedgehog cabinet, which we talked about endlessly over this last 3 weeks or so. But it's a great cabinet. The form factor, you can see how just big it is. It's even bigger than the Supreme WrestleFest as far as its height. I really like the game deck on this one. I don't like the wide 4-player game deck. This is a 2-player, but it still has a lot of room, not as much, but as almost as much room as the WrestleFest, except for those 3rd and 4th players. So this is a great design. I see a lot of people doing this into like a different cabinet altogether because it lends itself to a lot of classic arcade games. And there's going to be a lot of like Zabo's artwork, Zabo's marquee replacements for these, and Buy Stuff will do the bezel, do replacements for that. So you'll be able to get all kinds of artwork and do whatever theme you want pretty much with these. The key is the mass producing of them, and then that's when the third-party companies come in and start making all the cool stuff for them. So if these sell well, expect a lot of mods and possibilities there. Easy mods to do for it. So these are going to be good sellers. I can't wait. Even if it's not the license or the game we wanted in Sonic, I think this is going to be huge. It's going to sell really well. It's going to be good for the community. It's going to be good for home arcade collectors, whether you like Sonic or not. So everything's looking good on it. I like it. He's going to look at the WrestleFest for a moment. We're going to take a look at that one. That one's available now if you want to go pick that up. And then he'll end with the Miss Pac-Man, which we'll look at as well. So let's take a look at the second part of his video here. And we're still checking out the same video as before, so go check out Mighty Comics and Collectibles on YouTube, because this is his video we're looking at here. He was able to attend. He does some Arcade1Up stuff, mostly comics and stuff like that, but he did a really good job, I thought, on this video. So looking at this game deck, you got the 3 buttons on the primary 2 players, and then you got the 2 buttons on the outside there, because there are some games that require that 3rd button. And they did a good job. I mean, there's some huge improvements on that Supreme. You gotta, even if you're not a wrestling fan like I am, I'm not a wrestling fan, but I gotta give it to them. I gotta give them props that this looks great. They've done some really big, I think, upgrades. They significantly improved it from the Ultra Edition. And doesn't look like there's much left that they could have done. There's one thing that they're going to go with is they're not going to go with the overlay for the game deck, the plastic overlay deck protector. They're not going to do those. And I don't know. It's for me, I haven't had any of these yet that didn't have one of those deck protectors. So it's going to be weird for me. But they promise these will not rub off, that they've gone through thorough testing, and you can trust that they're going to last. So that's what they stated. Now, here's, I think, the biggest thing that came out of Toy Fair, as far as I think for the classic, home arcade collectors. Your probably average home arcade collector is going to be probably most into this cabinet because of its nostalgia and the brand and the IP, Miss Pac-Man, and also they've done the authentic colors, authentic artwork. Looks really good. There is, I'm sure you've heard a lot about this already if you follow a lot of home arcade. There's a ton of discussion around the game deck and where that artwork isn't perfect. It's supposed to go across horizontal, not straight down like it did. But you got to give it to them there too. I think they did a really good job on recreating this cabinet in a home arcade form. And those slight improvements, I think they could easily make in the artwork if that's all that people are unhappy with. And it looks good. This should have actually, guys, though, this should have came out 2-3 years ago. We all know it. When that Pac-Man XL came out, this should have been right after it or at the same time. The only reason it didn't come is Arcade1Up was going through so much difficulty financially that they just didn't have the means or, you know, the resources to do probably 2 XLs during that time period, or this would have already been out long ago. But thanks to Basic Fun coming in, buying Arcade1Up, you know, they've already developed probably this cabinet. They just never released it. So now they're just finally releasing something that was already set to release before under the past ownership. So really cool to get an inside look, I think, at Toy Fair and get to see, you know, like as if we were walking through that booth, what we would have saw if we were there. So good to have someone on YouTube that was able to capture all that for us. CR Cool King 36 says, only worth for the Sonic cabinet will be picking up for the $100 plus, whatever, how much to convert it into something else. Right. I think tons of people are going to be modding these. You know, I've heard a lot of people not huge on the Sonic brand and those games being on it, especially Genesis games being on it. But, you know, I think for the cabinet design, the form factor that you're getting with this one, it's going to be huge with everyone for that reason, because it's given us a completely new cabinet design in a XL, which we've wanted. And we're going to be able to get it at a retail, you know, like Sam's or Costco, and maybe even other retailers. There'll be deals as well. You know, more people buy these, the more they make, the better deals we'll get on them. And this is going to be a hot seller. There's going to be a lot of people picking up Sonic. So just taking a closer look at it, because we didn't have any renders. So I was just kind of playing around with AI today. And I've always been like, a fun part of doing content creation is like the graphic design aspect for me, creating the thumbnails, creating the graphics for the reviews, and putting all that into the videos, and all that is fun for me. But with the AI and where it's gone and where it's heading, it's like you have to use AI now. There's no way I'm going to sit around for hours creating all this art and stuff when AI can do it in like 2 minutes for me. You know, why would I, even if I could do it? So I've been trying to use AI as much as I can. I was able to kind of recreate the render of that cabinet pretty well. I think this is pretty dang spot on, guys. Like, this is not an official render from Basic Fun or Arcade1Up. This is one that I made from those images. And I just think that it looked, let me see if I can zoom out here a little bit. All right, let's see here. But I think it did a really good job. So I've got an actual render now that I can use in thumbnails, videos, artwork of the actual cabinet. And I think this is like pretty much spot on. Even though we can't see the entire cabinet from those videos or those images that they've released, this pretty much puts it all together. So it looks pretty good. You're going to have the Knuckles on the side. A lot of people are a little bit unhappy with that because he's not prominent in these 3 Sega Genesis games that are included on the cabinet. So that leaves me a little more hopeful that maybe they just did not include those extra games at Toy Fair, but their whole plan was to add more. So Sonic and Knuckles is probably going to be on their Sonic CD. They should get on there because the music is really good on Sonic CD. So even though it's an older game and it is a console game, it has really good music to it. So it'd be, I think, key to get that game on there. And I think people would love it just for its attract mode and having it playing in the background. And then Sonic the Fighters. I think they have to figure out, I'm sure there's a licensing nightmare behind that because I don't think has Sonic the Fighters ever released outside of the arcade. I don't think it has. So that may not happen, but they really got to push for that and at least do their best to try to get that game on there. And then, of course, they can't do Sega Sonic the Hedgehog because they're not going to have the trackball with this. And that wasn't a really popular arcade to begin with. So I don't think that's the direction they should go. I think they should go with and put all their time, all their efforts into getting Sonic the Fighters on here. And it doesn't even need the artwork for that game. Just get the game on there. you know, and maybe even they may have, if you guys have read my article on the annual report for 2026, it breaks all this stuff down for you. And you guys are seeing that article play out right now in real time. Everything is being done to capture the family aspect of this market. And they want to gear their marketing and their resources to a family-friendly arcade if they're going to make one right now. And that's what they've done with this one. And I know what's happening. There's people in those meeting rooms that are like, well, we don't want a fighting game on here. Our whole goal this year was to kind of avoid the fighting games. So I can see why they're not going to put it on there. But that they need to figure that out, because maybe they could put like a parental lock on that game where like you get into the menu system and you have to put in a code to access that extra game, which is Sonic the Fighters. That way, if you have like your kids' friends come over and play it, they can't access that game. So that would be a way around it. That'd be a workaround. But will they put that much time and effort into it? Probably not. They'll probably just release it with you know, all the games, the family games they wanted. Devastator Omega says, I'd convert it to a Streets of Rage collection cab or a Sega Genesis theme cab. Yeah, those would be really good ideas. And I don't think the Streets of Rage will be coming anytime soon. And I don't think they're going to do a Sega Genesis theme. So that would be a good mod to get, because those probably aren't going to be coming. So yeah, those are good ideas. I've heard a lot of people talking about doing the Sega Genesis theme, and we've had a lot of people in the community do Sega Genesis cabs in the past over the years. So that would be a great one. Be easy to do too with that Intech gaming deck. So just looking at the poll right now, we've got 16 votes. Wonderland is leading the pre-orders with 19%. Iconic Arcade 6%. Glen's FU, which was pricey, at 6%. And I didn't pre-order, 69. Amiga Cami is here. It will look good paired with Jersey Jack's upcoming Sonic Pinball. That's a great idea. I'm glad you brought that up. Cami, is that there is a lot of buzz around a Sonic the Hedgehog pinball table coming. And I think it's pretty much, you know, when there's this much buzz around like a brand or a IP coming to pinball, that normally happens. Like we knew that about the Pokemon pinball. I talked about that like a month in advance. And there's been a ton of Sonic the Hedgehog talk. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that is one that they are going to make. And it just hasn't been announced. And I'm going to be going to Texas Pinball Festival here in just a few weeks, and maybe they'll announce it there. That would be really cool. Also, talking about Sonic Spinball, you know, Sonic really lends itself to pinball just in general, because its roots are pinball with the Sonic Spinball game back on the Genesis long ago. So that was another game I thought they should have included, was Sonic Spinball. If you guys have checked out My Arcade, they have the handheld, the real small ones we were looking at the beginning of the stream. They have a Sonic one of those, and it has Sonic Spinball on it. But this version that Arcade1Up will do will not. I'm wondering why that is. That definitely has to get on there as well. And wouldn't it be cool to have some like pinball buttons on the side there, where it's just got that empty artwork? Just put like some pinball buttons right there and play Sonic Spinball. I think that'd be a cool way to play it. Even though it wasn't a great game and it hasn't aged well because it's so slow and the way the ball travels or the way Sonic travels as a pinball, it's still great for its nostalgia. Our Marvel Maxim collection and Masters of the Universe He-Man Day 1 purchases for you. What systems will you buy on? Hollywood Polo is asking. I'm going to be getting likely the both of those games. And I'm more into the Marvel Maxim, but I'll definitely get the He-Man as well. And that'll probably be on Steam. That way I can use my X Arcade with it. I can use plug it into pretty much anything. A lot of fight sticks I have, I can plug into the PC. So I'll get those games on Steam. Also, these beat 'em up games are real easy to play on like a low-end PC. So I have like this really cheap laptop, and I'll play my retro games on that. And you can pretty much plug it up into anywhere to anything. All right, so that is our Sonic the Hedgehog. And I did want to talk about this because I thought this was really big, okay? I was watching, and let me bring up the article here because I actually put this on the website. So we need to actually bring that up for everyone. It's because you guys may not go to the At Home Arcade's website, but I went ahead and put this on here because this is really big, even though it's way out. And I don't want to hype this stuff up too much because it's so far out, but I think it was breaking big news that was released, you know, leaks maybe, or I don't know what you'd call this, guerrilla marketing, where you get into like the chats and you start hyping up future cabinets without having to do like press releases or official news releases and stuff like that. But both companies, Arcade1Up and Media1Up, which is making the iconic arcade stuff, both went into the Arcade Insider stream on Thursday. And I don't know if this was all set up. I'm sure it was ahead of time, but they were both in there and they were talking about whether it be John D for Iconic Arcade or whether it be Arcade1Up Official. They were talking about their future cabinets. And there were two really big things that they stated. One was Arcade1Up Official stated that they're going to be making a Q*bert cabinet. They didn't say when or anything like that, but they did say that it's coming. And they also said that it's going to be a Supreme, an XL form factor. So that's huge, right? We've been waiting on Q*bert for a long time. Also, John D mentioned his 15 cabinet pipeline. He talked about all kinds of possible licenses, different games that we never thought possible. We know that he's got the Double Dragon. We know he's got the Street Fighter. He's probably got access to most all the Capcom. But it sounds like he's been working with Atari, Midway, some other companies that you thought would be off limits due to Arcade1Up, and he's been talking to them. So he said that he's got 15 cabinets right now in the pipeline that he is currently working on that could happen. So 15 possible cabinets. That's way bigger, I think, picture than any of us thought possible. 15 cabinets. I don't think any of us thought that was even, close to where we would be right now with his situation and how long it's taken him to get the Street Fighter out. But it looks like he's been building and working on a huge line of cabinets during that time that are set to release probably on a much quicker timeline than Street Fighter now. He basically said too that there's got to be like a 3,000 unit minimum pretty much for him to make these cabinets that he wants to make. So if he can just get 300 backers, or he can anticipate that there'll be at least 300 people, or 3,000 I should say, people buy these cabinets, then he can make it. And there were some like Primal Rage where he'd said he didn't think those were possible because he didn't think that they would sell 3,000 units. And I was like, are you absolutely crazy? Primal Rage would easily sell 3,000 units. I remember Primal Rage being one of the biggest, most popular fighting games growing up, and it still holds up very well today. Like the graphics and the gameplay and the way it looks and its value as a game is still very high today. So he should do that one. But I told you guys I was playing around with AI today, and it's crazy what it can do, guys. It is absolutely insane what it can do if you know what to tell it to do and you know how to talk to it. And I talk to AI pretty regularly now. It's a friend of mine now. So let's take a look at this. This is an ad I created for the new Q*bert cab that's coming. We don't know when it's coming, but it is. And this would have been the deluxe, right? So check this out. Arcade1Up Deluxe, the original, is back. Now introducing the Q*bert Deluxe Edition by Arcade1Up. Authentic gameplay, riserless design, and booming sound. And I think the sound is important in that, is that it has to have the knocker, right? It's got to have that knocker sound to it. And how are they going to accomplish that? Probably not with a real knocker, but they could, easily emulate that, or, create that through some bass or some sound maybe. So it'll have to have some like quality sound to it for sure. But I think this is really cool that we're going to get Q*bert after all these years. It has always been like one of those top 3, I would say, that people in the community have always begged and, you know, prayed for, was a Q*bert cabinet. And finally, it's like it's actually happening, and it's hard to believe. I think for many people in the community, people that have followed this stuff for years on end, to know that this is actually happening, it still doesn't, it's not believable, I think, for a lot of people after all the disappointment. But it is happening, you know, and there was the Robotron. I think a Robotron was really high up there in its candidacy for their next classic arcade. And then there were a few others out there as well. I think people were wanting to see or excited to see, but this one was one, you know, and I think because of the name recognition, the gameplay it offers is very similar to like a Pac-Man. So and it's right up there with its recognition of Pac-Man, you know, in movies and culture and all, in arcade, you know, nostalgia and all that. So this is a great pick, I think, for them moving forward. Miga Cami says, I'd buy a Primal Rage arcade cab, especially if it had more than just the first game. Like if you could get Primal Rage 1 and 2 on there. And it's kind of a tricky license because it was originally an Atari, and it is an Atari game developed by them, but it's owned by Midway now. So how do they figure that out? You know, I'd like it to still have its original Atari logos and all that. And could they pull that off somehow? I don't know. Burnt Orange Arcade says, I'll get a Primal Rage one day, but I don't think it will sell 3,000. And that's what John D said. He goes, he doesn't think it'll sell 3,000. I thought that's just crazy. It will easily sell 3,000. Devastator Omega is not a friend or not a fan of Q*bert. He is not gonna want one. He's saying that he's tired. He's going to sleep because we're talking about Q*bert. Arcade1Up bringing us a Q*bert, which he did say it was a Supreme, not a Deluxe. And that brings up another point as well that I wanted to talk about is, you know, the Arcade1Up Deluxe line, I thought was a really good line of cabinets. I thought the marketing and the promotions for the Deluxe was a really good thing that they did, the past Arcade1Up. And I don't like the Supreme name. I don't know about y'all, but I don't like the Ultra and the Supreme name. I just never have really liked those names. But I did like the Deluxe and I did like the XL. And they have the rights. They own all this Arcade1Up stuff now. So why not, if you're going to keep the Arcade1Up name, at least keep the Deluxe and XL, or call it the Supreme XL, or call it the, I would get rid of the Ultra and just call it Deluxe. I like that name. And we'll see what they're going to do with all that. They haven't made any decisions yet, or at least they haven't shared those decisions with the community or the public yet, so we don't know. Papa Brad's Gaming says Robotron plays arcade perfect on an ALU for Mac games. Yes, these multi-cades behind me, I have play these games great, but there's something about the artwork. There's going to be those licenses that come around where you just have to have it. You just got to have it, you know? And that's what and I think that's what brings a lot of enjoyment to us in this community, is just the anticipation or the ability to influence like a company who's listening, you know, like Arcade1Up could be listening to this stream tonight. And we actually have the ability as a viewer or an audience to influence the company to make the cabinets that we want, to kind of write history just by being fans of this stuff and influencing these major players like Basic Fun to make the stuff we want. So Q*bert's coming. I think the people have spoken over the years, and they've had the data, they've had the analytics over the years to know that this is a solid decision, that they can make this cabinet and it's going to sell, it's going to do well. The retailers are going to want it. You know, Best Buy is going to want it on their floor. Walmart may even have it on their floor like they've done with Pac-Man, because it is that brand that they can do that with. So this is cool too. I'm telling you guys about this AI. This is kind of freaky, right? So I put in some photos of Toy Fair, and I was like, make me a Supreme Qbert at Toy Fair. And it's getting to the point now where you can't even tell the difference between reality and what AI is making. So isn't this kind of freaky? So this is not real. This is not real, guys. Disclaimer. This is what I would imagine a Qbert Supreme to look like if we were at Toy Fair this year, if they had actually announced this. Now, one thing that's kind of scary is AI's gotten really good at creating these Qbert cabinets now, all of a sudden within like the last week. Now, sometimes AI can start to do this because it is deciphering other information, other data that is out there in the wild that may have leaked or may have gotten, maybe gotten, I wouldn't say stolen, because, but maybe the company didn't want the information out there and it somehow did get out there. Someone maybe put it on an email and sent it to someone that shouldn't have had it. And now that got uploaded to AI, and now AI has that. And now AI can use that information to now create the images and the things that we want to see. So that lends itself even more to that Qbert is actually in development right now, that it is actually being made, and there probably are images or video out there that's not readily available but has been at public recently that has gotten integrated into the whole AI system, because it created an entire Qbert cabinet for me and it made it look like as if it was at Toy Fair. So this could, like I said, be really, we know it's coming, but it could have already been made and could be out there somewhere. We just haven't seen it, or they haven't made it public yet. So Papa Brad's Gaming says, is that from them or did AI make this? So I made this image, but what I was trying to just say, and to kind of break it down into more easy to understand or digest, the reason that I made this image so easily is because it's probably reality. There probably is an actual image similar to this out there somewhere that I don't own or have access to, but AI has at some point had access to it, is what I was trying to break down there. So, this is breaking news. You guys aren't hearing this on other channels. You guys aren't getting this information from other sources. And it's kind of always been that way over these last few years since I got into this hobby or this, content, is I've always kind of been ahead of the curve on this channel. And I've always given you guys solid information. There's been things that I've said that haven't panned out. There's things that I've said that haven't been accurate, but most of what I've given you guys has been ahead of the curve. It's been information you couldn't have gotten anywhere else, whether that's because these people are under some type of an agreement or contract that prevents them from saying it, or they're just not good at following this stuff as well as some other people are. I don't know what the case is, but I've been ahead of the curve on a lot of this stuff. And I don't have any agreements with companies that prevent me from sharing my mind. And I've always done that. I've kind of dabbled in, making connections with companies, and companies have sent me out stuff for review, but I've never signed any agreements, and I've never gotten close enough with those companies to even have them offer me anything like a contract, because I don't want that to happen. I don't want you guys to not get the information that you come here to get, right? We just got a super chat thanks to Papa Brad's Gaming. He just sent over $2. He says, Biggie D is a leader, not a follower. Stay legit. So let's play my only super chat video I have for Papa Brad, the biggest and best arcade gamer I know. Here you go, Papa Brad. Thanks for the $2. Thanks again. Appreciate it. I was thinking today, I haven't done guest in a long time. I got rid of that software And I kind of feel bad because you guys will still send me super chats, and I haven't been putting that towards like having software to bring guests on. So I got to figure that out. You know, I was using Restream. Maybe I haven't looked into it in a long time. Maybe there's other websites out there I can use for that. But I'd like to start, even if, you know, it's Restream again, I'd like to get some type of software set back up to bring guests on, because it's been a long time. And super chats, when you guys do that, it definitely helps me pay for that kind of stuff if we have that coming in. All right, so that was Qbert. I'm going to pretty much wrap up the Qbert, but I thought that was cool. You know, we've got some really good stuff to look at and think about there. So let's get into Iconic Arcade. So Iconic Arcade, we got a lot of news this week on them because their cabinets have finally shipped. So these things are on the boats. They're on their way. And, you know, it's going to take probably the month of March. Some people are saying they may deliver them by April. Some are saying May. I would always lean on the safe side and say May, because we've seen, you know, with Iconic Arcade, it's always later than it should be. And there's been heavy delays this whole time. So I would say May safe. And this will be cool. I think these cabinets look really good. Let's take a look at these cabinets. So this is the only image we have. We have not seen the UI. We haven't seen the gameplay. But from everything I can find on the internet, it looks like the Arcade Insiders had the best image or idea of what this UI is going to look like that they had shared. And it's basically going to have that Iconic Arcade logo up in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. You're going to get a little Wi-Fi logo letting you know if you're connected or not in the upper right. Looks like you're going to have a line of games, which are just going to be these blocks that you're going to slide through. Then you have that settings menu. What's cool, though, is you're getting 1944, Pro Gear, Giga Wing. You're getting some good shmup games on here. And then you're getting all the fighting, you know, Street Fighter games as well. And then they're going to have downloadable games that they've assured us that there's going to be like a storefront, and you're going to be able to download extra games onto this. And that's going to be a neat feature because, you know, AtGames has done that. iArcade did that. But we haven't had like an Arcade1Up that's done that. And John comes from the Arcade1Up days. So we're going to get a storefront on one of these Street Fighter cabinets for the first time, and or on one of these, I should say, dedicated cabinets outside of iArcade with the storefront. So I've got like my AtGames Ultimate. That's not like a dedicated cabinet. The iArcade were, because they had dedicated artwork with the storefront of a bunch of different games, but they're not in existence anymore. So this is kind of something new for us that hadn't been available to us in a long time, is to buy a multi-cade where we can go to a store and we can buy arcade games and play them on that cabinet. And some of these games are going to have leaderboards and online, they've said. We haven't seen how any of that is going to work or how that's going to play yet, which isn't a good sign, but they could surprise us, right? They could completely, you know, give us a really great product, and we just, I wouldn't plan on that. You know, normally when they've been silent and they haven't shown much, that's not a good sign. And we just got to go with, you know, common sense on that. But there is always that outlier, that small percentage that they've just been wanting to make this a surprise this whole time, right? And it actually plays really good. It actually is a really great system that they have set up. We do know that the artwork looks really good, like this Street Fighter Road Warrior. Like, just look at the marquee, how big it is, how good that artwork looks. Looking at I think the Street Fighter Alpha 2 artwork looks even better. Looking at that game deck, looking at those buttons. This is the actual cabinet we're looking at in this photo. And I just think it looks really good, guys. I mean, this is going to be an ultra premium cabinet compared to what we've been used to with the Arcade1Ups. This is going to be extremely premium feel compared to what we've been accustomed to. And if you guys remember, like the Killer Instinct, which was that, it wasn't the XL. What were those called? It's been so long. The KI Pro. Yeah, the KI Pro, right? So this is the Street Fighter Pro that should have came out all those years ago from Arcade1Up that never made it across the finish line. But it was very close. I think what John D did is he took a lot of that research, a lot of that development, and those ideas that they'd come up with from his Arcade1Up days, and he put all that into this cabinet. And that's why I think it wasn't, there were some bumps along the way. It wasn't a smooth release to get this cabinet out, but they did make it, and it looks really good from what we've seen so far. You know, just looking at the cabinet, it just looks great. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about, and I know you guys can't see my cursor right now, is going to be that line through the artwork between the bottom half and the upper half of that side panel. It just, that crease just really kind of throws it off a little bit. I'll have to see it in person to know how it would look in person, but in this photo, it definitely is noticeable, right? But everything else looks good. The coin doors are pretty cool. They're lit up and they've got the Iconic Arcade logo on it. So I think they're planning on using a lot of these parts for future projects that they're going to be working on. And they could use this cabinet design on a lot of different cabinets as well. It doesn't just need to be Street Fighter. They could do this on the one we were talking about. Primal Rage would look really good in this cabinet. So that's the Iconic Arcade news, is that it is on the boat. It is coming. People are going to be receiving theirs in the next, I would probably say, month and a half, 2 months. You should have yours. Devastator says, so we won't see Iconic Arcade's user interface until they're in people's homes. That's right, which is not a good sign. That's likely blindly buying a car and risking getting a tricycle, right? You're putting a lot of faith into Iconic Arcade, and you're just saying, you take the wheel, here's my money, you know, just make something great. I don't need you guys to prove me that I need to pay you. I'm more of like the pre-order person. We've got a pre-order poll going on right now. I normally won't pre-order, but if something really sold me on the idea, then I would. And Iconic Arcade definitely has not sold us on pre-ordering. It was people just purposely putting their money out there on a limb saying that this is going to work out. But it may actually work out pretty well for them because everything we've seen looks good. Won't be online day one. That's what I'm fearing. No online day one. They would not have been this quiet if they were ready for the big show, right? All right, so let's talk some Wonderland Pinball. And I've got some good stuff, like some photos that I've been grabbing off the Facebook group. There's a new Wonderland Facebook group right now that just formed, and that's where I'd grabbed all these photos from. They were sharing them, so I might as well share them here on this show so we can get them out to more people that may be interested in these. But this is what the box looks like when it arrives at your house. It'll come in 2 boxes. One thing that a lot of people have been upset about is that they're getting box 1 but not getting box 2. And some people are waiting several days. You know, they're still waiting as of today for their second box. So that's frustrating. But there are some people, I think, that are getting both at the same time. And that's what we'll be looking at, are those photos. But this is the listing here for eBay. And this was a little bit controversial. You would have saw me. I made a short this week about this, talking about how you can get it for less than $1,000 through Spreetel, eBay. It's free shipping. I can actually return it 30 days, hassle-free return. And my thought was, well, maybe I should take a chance on this because if I'm unhappy with it, it'll be easy to return. But then I got some good comments on that short where they're like, it'll be a disaster, you know, trying to get that thing back in the box. If you wanted to return it, and if we know Kevin even though Kevin at Spreetel has done a lot for the community, if we know anything about him, he's going to probably try and charge us for that return because he's going to be losing money if he doesn't. So also another thing that was controversial about this ad that came out this week is I could have actually had my machine by Friday if I'd bought it on Wednesday. They actually had to take this ad down because so many people were upset because Spreetail was selling it prior to the pre-order customers receiving theirs. The pre-order customers, some have not even received theirs yet. And he's already been actively selling units after the pre-order direct, through the website. So people were really upset about that. He has had so much bad publicity from this that he's taken the listing down. You can't even buy it. And evidently he's been sitting on these for about a month trying to sell them, but he can't because he's waiting on these pre-orders to come out. And I don't know why the pre-orders have taken so long to ship. I imagine because it was a Kickstarter and it was a smaller, small amount of money. I mean, people were only putting in $7.99 to buy these things. And with all the, tariffs, and you got to imagine what these things cost to ship. They're probably outrageously expensive to ship. That they're probably running into a lot of, roadblocks and issues trying to get these things out to their customer here at the finish line. So I haven't heard any news that people aren't going to receive theirs. They're going to get it done. But Spreetail is really unhappy because they're sitting on a bunch of units that they want to sell. And I've been very interested in getting one. And we're going to look at some photos here in a minute. We're going to look at some video. And I even saw Kevgred. I haven't seen him in the chat yet tonight, but he had made a community post about one guy who had bought one. And it seems like people are happy with these. Like the quality is actually really good as far as the look and the quality of the parts, and what you're getting for the money is, mind-blowing to think that for less than $1,000 you can get a mechanical real pinball machine that functions and it's fun to play. So that's all been what people have been saying about it. And I was confident that they would say that because I saw it at Pinball Expo back in October and I was impressed. So I know people are going to be impressed, and that's what we've been seeing. There have been some issues though with the software. Now, the good thing is with the software, that can be changed and updated and improved through updates. It does have Wi-Fi built in, so that they can figure out over time. But there have been some software hiccups and things with day one, updates and stuff like that. So it hadn't been painless, but it's actually been a pretty good product from what people have said so far. Here's some out-of-the-box pictures. You're going to have to assemble it. But luckily, most of it is put together in the playfield area. So really, you're just putting the outside cabinet part together and then putting the playfield into it. And just some good photos coming in now from people that have received theirs. Now, if you get the limited edition, I thought this was interesting. I thought these parts were going to come pre-installed. They don't. They come separately. And for instance, this person received, I think, his limited edition parts prior to receiving his pinball machine. So this will come in a different shipment as well. But it gives you your topper, which the light up topper, we haven't seen it yet on the machine, but in the renders looked really good. And then you get the extra plunger, the gold plated plunger, and you get that extra toy there you'll put in there for the Mad Hatter. And let's see, there's been quite a few comments come in on the pinball that I wanted to bring up. Miga says, I would love one if it has all three alpha games, and it will have them all three. Video Game Vegas says, I know, but sometimes I think it'd be fun to have a full-time co-host talking about coming on the show. We definitely need to get a co-host back on Papa Brad's. That'd be great. I love watching his show, but if we could get another person coming on there with him to help him and just, keep the conversation, the arcade conversation going even longer would be great. Miga Cami says, I bet you could hire a handyman on Marketplace who would put it together for $50. Yes, you could find someone to put this thing together. They'd probably enjoy it. Papa Brad's using his emojis. I still got the Arcade emojis, and coincidentally, I've got the Qbert emoji now that we've got Qbert coming. Miga says, I still have no idea if any of my boxes for the limited edition have shipped out yet. So supposedly, so we looked at this first image, right, of the box. This person didn't know it was going to be on their doorstep. They just came home and it was sitting on their front of their garage. So no one knows if there's bad weather, when it's getting delivered, none of that. It's just getting to their doorstep with no tracking or any of that. So it may just show up, Cammy, at your door, and you will have no idea that it was going to be arriving that day. Be prepared for that. Mikey says, all these guys got screwed. Supreme Court rules tariffs are unlawful. All right. So Hollywood says, how was your weekend? I know you're asking Papa Brad, but I had a great weekend as well. Just getting outdoors a lot. My new apartment here where I live is really cool. I shouldn't even call it an apartment because it's a house, but I'm renting it, so I don't own it. But I live literally on the edge of the wilderness. If I walk across the street, it starts getting really mountainous, and it's just wilderness. So like I went hiking today, I went hiking yesterday, I went hiking the day before that. I pretty much go every day now, and I ride my bike to and from the trails. So I'm getting in that. So I'm getting in a ton of biking and hiking. Now I just need to start getting in the pool and doing some swimming, and I'll have it all. But yeah, it's been really good getting outdoors. It's been a lot of fun. I've been trying to implement that in like my shorts and stuff. Like even today I did a promo for this stream tonight, and I was out there. I was like, why don't I just promote it while I'm out here? A lot of people don't get to see this landscape, especially up in like New York where it's been snowing all last week. So I've been having a really fun time getting outdoors. It's been really good for my health too. Like I've noticed like I'm starting to like lean up like I naturally, just from all the exercise I'm getting. I'm not even changing my diet. And it's been really great living here just over the last month, and feel like I've found a really great place to live. They call this area that I live in, they call it the 303 lifestyle. It's actually kind of a landmark decision that Arizona made to make this highway system. It's an outer loop that's going to go all the way around Arizona or the Phoenix area in Arizona. But it'll be not an outer loop, it'll be an outer loop, which goes way outside the city. And right now, there's no homes. They're just laying all the roads and the sidewalk for all these multi-million-dollar homes that are coming in around this area. But there's all this development, all this money coming into this area right now. And I'm just moved in right before all this has started. So they call it the 303 lifestyle. And it's really nice because I live close to the city, but I don't have to feel like I live in the city. You know, I get that pleasure of leaving that and kind of feeling like I'm outside, you know, and outside like I own some land or I have a farm or something where I'm actually still a part of the city. And it's cool. I love it out here. And I don't have to deal with the pollution. Like I'm at a higher elevation. Like I can see the city now and I can see the pollution down there. And I'm just like so happy to be where I'm at now. But back to our subjects, Lean Mean Fighting Machine. That's right. And I haven't even been trying. I've just been enjoying myself and it's been happening. So even better, right? All right. So I need to get into mountain biking. I saw a guy today. I was hiking. Oops, sorry about that. I was hiking today and I saw a guy coming down the mountain on a mountain bike. This is the first time I'd seen, these are all mountain bike trails that I hike on, but I never have seen a guy doing it yet until today. I saw a guy and he was coming down really fast. I'd get out of his way. But man, that looks like a lot of fun. Get like a really nice mountain bike, get a nice good helmet and just start, you know, going super fast down these mountains. That's just right up my alley, right? All right, so here's your play field. This is what it's going to look like. It's going to come all put together, which is really nice. Hey, we've got the Rexer show here. Good to see the Rexer show. Nice place. Oh yeah, no, I'd love to buy a house, especially in this area, but they're like 500,000. That's what they start at, and that's for just like a little house, 3-bedroom little house, like 1,700 square foot, and it's like 500,000. So I would have to buy one in a less expensive area. Good thing is I can rent and live in this area. So here's like your side panels. We looked at those. We looked at the limited edition. Here's what it looks like all put together. I think it looks really good. They've done a great job with this. We've got a couple of videos too that have come in. Let's see if I can get those up. This came from that same Facebook group, and I'm going to try and turn the volume up here so you guys can hear it. Okay? I'm going to put my headphones on because I want to hear it too. It's only a 10-second video, so you're not going to hear much. But you can hear those bumpers. Let me get it on the right. I didn't even have it on the right screen. Sorry, guys. But it's got some quality bumpers up there in the upper playfield. They are pop bumpers. And they actually have some good sound to them. They make it a lot of fun to play. On classic pinball, one of my favorite things about them are the pop bumpers and just that feedback that you get from those. And this machine has those. So it is a real pinball machine. We're going to get more video this week. And we're going to get an actual review. I saw B-Kong talking about how he's going to actually do a review. So that's coming. Watch that again. But it's got some call outs, it's got some sound effects, you know, like you heard that ding, you know, that sound. When you're playing it, and I was at Pinball Expo, keep in mind, in Chicago, and it's very loud in there, very loud. It's hard to hear the pinball tables, but even there, I could hear it. Like I could hear the call outs, I could hear the sounds, I could hear the feedback of the machine, even in that loud environment. So I know when you get home and you're playing this thing, it's gonna be, especially if you've never owned a real pinball machine, you're gonna love it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And if it stays working and you're not having issues with it and you're not constantly fixing it, you're gonna get a lot of enjoyment out of it. I promise you that. Woman in the War says, oh yeah, I don't know where that discussion came from. So I've been trying to follow the chat, but I don't know where that came from. The Rexer Show says, looks nice. All I've read is problems with it. People have had some software issues I've seen, but I haven't seen much negativity around the quality of the machine, the parts, what you're physically getting for that money. I've not heard many complaints about that. It's been things that are fixable through software updates that I've heard. Cami says Wonderland's pin has features that you only get on a high-end model stern, like the interior art on the side blade, like the art blades. Yes, huge that you're getting all these extras. I don't know how they've done this, how they've managed to sell this thing for as low of a cost as they've done and given us all this. I just don't know how they've been able to do this. Rexer Show says, you think you can believe B-Kong's review? He didn't get it for a review, I don't think. I think he actually paid for this. And I have heard him be a little critical of it on certain aspects of this machine. So I expect a pretty honest and fair review from B-Kong. And another thing about B-Kong is he's been out of like that inner circle of the Illuminati. That whole Illuminati has kind of started to break up, and part of that is B-Kong has kind of separated himself for the most part from a lot of that, what was going on. So I expect a fair, honest review from B-Kong, an independent review from him on this. So let's see here. Next, we're going to talk Stern pinball. Might as well follow it up with another pinball. So we got the Pokemon Pinball. We had talked about this, what was it, 3 weeks, a month before it actually came out? We were talking about this machine on this channel. And I showed you guys an LE image, a limited edition image of the Pokemon. And it looked a lot like this, didn't it? When we looked at that image, it looked very similar. There were obviously some changes to the artwork. But if you guys, the last time I streamed, in fact, had a full stream, we talked about this machine and we looked at an image that looked just like this one. So we were on top of it. Good thing is too, I'm going to pinball, the convention, Texas Pinball Festival here in like less than 3 weeks. I'm going to actually get to play this. And I hope they have some LEs there. I'm sure they'll have at least one. But these things sold out so quick, and they're going for like crazy amounts of money. For $40,000, I saw some for going $50,000 now. The price is just going up and up and up because they've sold out, and now resellers are selling them to more resellers, and it just keeps going higher. So what are these going to end up being valued at the end of the day? I don't know. They could break $100,000. Many people are saying in value. The highest valued trading card ever sold just last month, and it was a Pokemon trading card, and it sold for like $16 million, some insane amount of money. So Pokemon was the right decision for sure, and this is a great time for Stern to bring it out, because it is like prime Pokemon value time right now. Let's see here. I've got a video, and is my dang video not going to work? It is not working. It was just going to be the Stern video. Like, it was like a 60-second video of Stern and their new Pokemon. We'll get more into that machine when I get to this Texas Pinball Festival here in a few weeks. Rather than talk about it a lot, looking at renders, I would rather get some more hands-on time with it anyways. And I'll film all that. I'll discuss it on these streams. So really looking forward to this convention coming up, because I'll be able to play it, see it. And for like that limited edition, this will probably be the only opportunity I get to play it, because these things are going to be valued so high. You're not going to see them in the arcades. And I'm sure the line's going to be around the building to play it when I get there. But I'm going to be there for 3 days. So I'm going to play it at least once. And then, of course, I'll be able to play the Pro and the Premium also. Those will be readily available, I'm sure. But Stern is also advertising another big debut at Texas Pinball Festival. They say they're debuting the next cornerstone game. And they've already announced Pokemon. And Pokemon has already been on the drawing board for years. And there's always been a lot of discussion behind Pokemon and that one coming. So I don't think that's the one they're hinting at with this post. So I think they've got another one that they're going to release, or at least announce, at Texas Pinball here in a few weeks. And what that will be, I have no idea. But from what I'm hearing, it's Transformers. There's like a ton of discussion and buzz around Stern Pinball bringing Transformers, which would make a lot of sense. A lot of movies you can do that from. You've got the cartoon, you've got the action figures. You know, what route are they going to go with the artwork and the theme for that IP? I don't know yet, but I'm interested to find out. And supposedly they're working on a new Transformers movie too, so maybe they can kind of line that up a little bit with that release of that movie. So I would plan on getting like an announcement for Transformers. I don't think they're actually going to have it there on the floor, but at least some discussion and announcements at the show about that one coming. And an official announcement from them there. Also, we heard Cammy talking about the Sonic the Hedgehog. That may get announced there. And then there's a bunch of others that people are... There's a Fallout maybe coming, a Fallout pinball, which would be really cool. So I don't know who's going to be doing Fallout, though. Can't tell you. And then American Pinball, supposedly they're bringing Circus Voltaire back in like a remaster version of Circus Voltaire. So there's a bunch of announcements that are going to be happening here in the next few weeks at that show, and I'll be there. So that'd be really cool. All right, so that is it on that. But I did want to talk about the Marvel Maxim collection. I know we had discussed this early in the chat. Someone had mentioned this. But I'm really excited about this new collection that's coming because it's like if you guys know anything about me, I'm big into the Marvel games. I was like a Marvel comic collector. I love the video games growing up, and the arcade games were big. You know, the 6-player X-Men arcade was like peak comic book arcade nostalgia, and they're gonna have the X-Men arcade 6-player game on this. And what's even better about that is it's gonna be online, so 6 of us could all play online X-Men all the way through on a console game, like on PlayStation or Switch or on our computer through Steam. And hopefully it's going to be cross-play, where it doesn't matter what platform you have it on. We can all link up and play this game all the way through. It'd be a lot of fun. But here's the preview for it. Let's listen to this. Let's see. Let me get some volume on this. I don't think this is copyrighted. Captain America the Avengers have online. So that'd be cool. This is kind of, that game's kind of an awkward game for me. Like the sounds are kind of funny, but it's a classic. I've always enjoyed it. I played it a lot growing up on the Super Nintendo. And then you're gonna have Spider-Man, X-Men, Arcade's Revenge. This is a unique console style game. Same with the Spider-Man Venom Maxim Carnage. I've been playing this on the Arcade. A lot of fun. Silver Surfer, I've never played this, but I hear it's not a great game. But another Marvel on there. And then it looks like it's going to have a lot of extras. Like extra content you can dig into. So it'll be on Switch, PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam. Looking forward to it. I know you guys are too. I know the whole community's pumped for this release. It's just going to be a lot of fun to be able to play this online with everyone. You know, we had that recent Marvel beat 'em up game that released. The Cosmic Invasion, which I thought they did a really good job on that beat 'em up. But it is a remake of, you know, trying to recreate those original arcade games. And some of these games, I just don't know if you can fully recreate that enjoyment that you get from these. So to have the actual game itself and be able to play it in a modern way with, you know, 5 of your other friends online on a modern system is a huge deal for any arcade collector, any arcade fan. Especially if you're a Marvel-driven arcade fan like I am. This announcement was mind-blowing. Like when I saw it, I was so ecstatic. I can't even put it into words, you know, how much this will mean to me when this releases here. And that's another thing, was we don't have a date yet on when this is going to release. It just says soon. So soon means to me soon, right? Like the next couple of months. I think if this was planned out for summer or fall, they would have said that. This is coming out in the spring. It's going to come out probably in the next month or two, I would imagine. And I'm going to be pumped. I know you guys are too. Looking forward to this release. So that's your Marvel Maxim collection that's coming out. We don't have a price and we don't have a date yet on that one. And February pinball tournament. So I wanted to go over these results and keep in mind that I'm sorry that I did not keep this up to date on the website. I normally will keep At Home Arcade's website up to date with all our tournament information. So apologize I've slacked on that, but we do have our winners, and I will update that, and our winner will get their winner coin, which I will put on social media as well as on the website. And let's take a look at our results. So this was the February pinball tournament, and everyone voted for this. We had like 30 votes, and surprisingly, like over 50% of those votes were for this table, which was the Addams Family. And that was with the Bethesda tables that had just released. That was with Skyrim, Doom, Fallout. All those were options. Everyone picked, for the most part, more than half of the audience or the voters picked the Addams Family. And we played it on Classic with Realistic, and I thought I had a decent score when I had got 22,958. And I was just above Arcade Talk when I got that score. So Arcade Talk must have logged in again after that to pass mine, because he's ahead of me now. But OGIP came in 6th place with 15 million. I came in 5th place with 22 million. Arcade Talk, we're a good friend of Papa Brad, 25 million. Gregory, who runs the Calling All Ballers Facebook group, they do weekly tournaments. He came in 3rd place. He's normally 1st or 2nd. He came in 3rd place with 57 million. And then Beetlejuice Pinball Saloon. That's a new name I had not seen before. So if you're listening, Beetlejuice, congratulations on 2nd place. He got 64 million. He's a level 83, so he's a big time player in this Pinball FX. And then Papa Brad, who is in the chat, got 1st place with 77 million. So don't mess with Papa Brad on the Addams Family, because he's got this table down. He knows how to score. He knows how to work that table. Came in with 77 million. So that's great to see that 1st place. Check At Home Arcade's website this week, Papa Brad, because you'll have your post about your #1 1st place in the tournament, as well as your winner's coin this week. Hey, B Kirby made it. He's saying, what's up, Biggie? Good to see you, B Kirby. Glad you made it to the stream tonight, hanging out with us. Just talking about the February pinball tournament. We did the Addams Family for February, and just a couple days ago, Papa Brad won the tournament with that huge score. All right, so let's see. I had some links I wanted to show you guys real quick. So let's take a look at these. So this one here is just the Texas Pinball Festival website. You know, go check this out. It's going to be in Frisco, Texas, which is a really great place to travel to, because there's hotels everywhere, and it's really clean and nice area, safe, great place to travel to, easy to get to and from the airport. And you can just stay at the hotels around there and walk to it if you want. But this is their website. Go check it out. You got Chicago Pinball Expo every year in October. But then, you know, 6 months later in the spring is Texas Pinball. And this has grown to be like just as big as the Chicago Pinball Festival. I actually would say I like it a little bit more than the Chicago Pinball Festival, but that's only because I'm a little bit probably not the best person to ask, because I'm from Dallas, so that's my home. So I feel very comfortable there. I like going there anyways to travel to see family. So I really enjoy it a lot more than Chicago, probably for that reason. But for the value of the tournament, or the gathering, the convention itself, I think it has more to offer. I think they put on a better show than Chicago does. I think there's more hands on deck. There's more effort that goes into the Texas Pinball Festival, I feel like. But that's not to knock Chicago, because they've got a long-running thing going there, and I don't think they're better than there. I just have more enjoyment. I get more out of the Texas one, in my opinion. But I always go to both, no matter what, because they're must go-to events, I feel like. Because pinball machines are so expensive. They're extremely hard to obtain for like a common person like me. But I can go to these events and I can feel part of the community. I can have a ton of enjoyment because I get to play all these super expensive pinball tables I would normally not get to play. and will probably never own. And then I get access to machines that most of the public will never get a chance to play, or maybe never in their entire life have an opportunity to play. Like that Pokemon limited edition that's going for 50,000 already. Those you're not going to find, but I will be able to find it there before that ends, you know, before Stern quits putting those out on the showroom floor. I'll get my probably one opportunity to play it. Also, I picked up Resident Evil Requiem, Resident Evil 9. As soon as it dropped on Friday, I actually picked it up the night before digitally because all the physical copies were selling out. And so it is funny how they make you put in your date of birth. Like when you load the game up for the first time, it actually makes you put in your exact age. I don't know why they do that now, but it is funny. But this is such a cool game. It's kind of a short campaign, I feel like, though, because I played it for 2 hours and I got through 10% of it in 2 hours. So hopefully it's longer than I think it is, but I think it's probably going to be about a 10 to 12 hour game. I haven't looked that up yet to confirm, but that's what I'm calculating, 10 to 12 hour game. So I'm kind of savoring it, kind of letting it simmer. Like I'll play a couple hours and then I'll wait till the next day and then I'll play another hour or two. And then like tonight, I may pick it back up and play another hour tonight, but I'm not going to go all the way through it in one night because I like to think about what happened in the story and all that, give it some time before I pick it back up to really get the most enjoyment out of it for me, because I'm really driven by the story because I've been playing these games since the first one released in the mansion back on PlayStation 1. I'll never forget the day that those dogs jumped out of those windows or into those windows in the hallway. When I first played Resident Evil, it scared the shit out of me and my friend. We jumped out of our chairs, and no game has done that to me like that did that day when I was that young. So I've been hooked on Resident Evil ever since, and this game lives up to what it is deserving of, which is like an incredibly put together, well-made game. This is it. It's cool too how they've done it. Like it kind of, so the newer Resident Evil games, they've kind of gone more to this first person, more of an atmosphere type driven game to scare you. And that's a lot of fun. I like that. 7 and 8 did that really well. But I also like the classic games too. A lot of people knock on the 6th Resident Evil, but I really liked the 6th Resident Evil. Even though it was short, I liked the pace of it. I liked the action of it. And this game recognizes that. So half of the game you're playing as Leon and you're playing in that third person action driven story gameplay style. And then half of the game, you're the new character. Her name's Grace, I think is her name. And forgive me, Grace, yeah. And she is she's a good character to follow because she's got a good storyline. The voice acting's really good. They've gotten so good with the graphics of the game. Like when you're watching the cutscenes, it's actually very entertaining because like the facial expressions and stuff seem so realistic now. And it's just a cool, fun game to play. Can't wait to finish it eventually. And it got me thinking about it tonight. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do my top 5 Resident Evil games, but I'll save that for another stream. But I will tell you my favorite has always been Resident Evil Code Veronica. And if they remake a game, I hope they remake that one. Because even though it had those terrible graphics that have not held up today, it still has the best story. And I love where that game went. Is Code Veronica. It's not even part of the main storyline of games. It's its own game. But that was always my favorite. But this one's up there. And the more I play it, the more I like it. And I like how they did it, where you don't get tired of one style of gameplay, how it switches it up constantly on you. And it gives you a little bit of each game from the past in this one, while also modernizing the game, make it more modern at the same time. They've kind of done it all with this. So can't say enough good things about this new Resident Evil. But again, I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, so I don't know if I'm the person to ask about that. So here is a good one that I wanted to look at before we close the stream tonight. Because if you guys are big into the Arcade1Up Basic Fun cabinets, WWE 4-Player Supreme WrestleFest is now available at Sam's for $649. Looks like I can pick it up as soon as tomorrow, and then I can get it shipped to me as well. $650. So it's your 4-player Supreme, larger 19-inch screen, speaker grills, coin door, the 5 games. There's also a mystery encoder mod out there as well now. So there's this community member named Mystery Encoder who makes these mods, soft mods, which will easily allow you to add the original WrestleFest to this cabinet. So if you guys want to play the WrestleFest the way it was meant to be played with all the original wrestlers, this never had online to begin with, so that doesn't matter. You're able to sideload the original WrestleFest, WWF WrestleFest, onto this cabinet and easily play it and still maintain those original games and the original PCB the way it was made, and just sideload the real WrestleFest onto it. So that's $649 at Sam's. I did want to talk about this as well. I'd actually put it on the website, so if you guys want to go check this out, this is pretty interesting. You know, I like the God of War games a lot. I really like the direction in how TV shows and movies, you know, how it was all comic books over the last 2 decades, where now we're going to video games, where most all the movies, all the TV shows are now going to be mostly driven through video game culture and past games that have released. So right now, Amazon Prime is making a Ghost of Sparta, which is going to be a God of War Kratos movie or TV show on Amazon Prime. Correct myself, TV show. This is going to break it down, all that for you. There's been a lot of controversy behind the actor that they've chosen, and just how it is also pretty much near impossible to recreate Kratos, you know, because of just his character and, you know, what everyone has like in their idea who this character is, what he should look like after playing these games. And it just seems like an unrealistic expectation to cast any actor into this role. But, you know, I think there was a lot of this kind of controversy, criticism when Fallout images first came out. If you guys remember when the Fallout TV show first trailer came out, it got hammered by the critics and like the viewers in the comment sections. They had said this Fallout show looks terrible, it's horrible, this will never be good, waste of time, low budget. Look at what's happened with that show. They're in season 2 now. It's absolutely incredible, must watch TV. Cannot wait for season 3 to start. They've already greenlit 5 seasons. So I expect this God of War show to do very well. I wouldn't listen to the haters out there, the people that are going to judge an entire TV show off of one image. You know, that's what happened, and we've learned from that doesn't always play out, that there's much more to offer than what we're seeing in these few images that they release, or maybe even a short trailer. So wait till it comes out to judge it, because Fallout was awesome. Talking about video games, though, and movies and TV shows, we've got the Super Mario Galaxy movie coming out. And I think that's coming out here very soon. Because I've been already seeing a ton of, like, I want to go get the Super Mario Galaxy cereal that they've been marketing. But let's see when this movie comes out. Comes out April 1st. So in 30 days, Super Mario Galaxy is coming out. But I saw they have cereal. I'm a big cereal fan. I want to get this. They got Lucky Charms and they got Tricks in Mario. Let's check this out. This is kind of spur of the moment here that I brought up. I want to get a good image though. This may be someone's thumbnail from a YouTube video you can go watch. But here it is. Strawberry Lucky Charms, Galactic Marshmallows, and then Blue Raspberry Tricks. But it doesn't have any Mario figures or anything. Maybe there's like toy or something in there, or a ticket to the movie or something that you can collect. But those are coming out. So I'll be following that Mario movie because I'm interested in seeing that. Oh, I also bought these marquees. So, you know, I have these marquees behind me and I have this open area directly over my head. I was like, oh, man, I want some more of those marquees because I've got more wall space now than I had before. Well, I ended up picking up a couple that I didn't have. I did not have NBA Jam and I didn't have Mortal Kombat 2, so I picked those up. The only one left that I don't own is the Joust. And the Joust is kind of funky. It comes up under Pac-Man. So if you click on Pac-Man at $98, it's Defender, not Joust, Defender. I didn't see this one when I ordered because it was listed as Pac-Man. If I had known that, I probably would have gotten Mortal Kombat 2 and Defender. I like NBA Jam. It's a great game, but I'm just kind of NBA jammed out. Where Defender's kind of cool because this is a great classic arcade game. And what I like about having these wall marquees is, like, you know, you like your dedicated arcade cabinets, right? But you can't realistically buy them all. Well, you can buy these marquees and you can put them over the arcade, and it kind of gives you that feel of another dedicated cab. So, like, when I first bought these, I'd started playing Pac-Man more because I had the Pac-Man marquee. And I'm thinking, like, with the Mortal Kombat, I'll probably start playing more Mortal Kombat 2 under this on my iArcade because I've got this right above it. Hopefully that makes sense. But these things are cool. I like these. And the only one left that I don't have is the Defender now. And I've bought 6 of these. It's almost $600 in wall marquees, which is the price of an arcade, but I find it as worth it. Because, like, look behind me. Like, look how big these things are and just how much bigger they are than the actual marquees in the cabinets. And it just really adds a lot of cool lighting and just a look to the arcade. So I'm going to have NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat 2 right above me. That'll be cool. Eventually I'll need to get that Defender one also. So that is it, guys. I can't think of anything else except for one last random little thing I'm going to show you that I came across today on Steam. And I thought this was cool, actually. You know, arcades are a little bigger than we think they are. Even maybe so with the developers. And I don't know if this is a hint from Ubisoft that they're working on an arcade or what, but they did their Ubisoft publisher sale on Steam today in all arcade cabinets. And I thought that was really cool. These aren't arcade games, but like that Rainbow Six Siege X, I've actually been playing that on Amazon Luna. Amazon Luna has a cloud gaming service. So if you have Amazon Prime, you can play games for free through their streaming service. And now that I have fiber internet, I can actually play streaming games like a real game on my console or my computer. So I've been playing the Siege X. It's actually pretty fun. Looks like they got Prince of Persia, Skull and Bones, Splinter Cell, Assassin's Creed. I bought the Crew Moto Fest for PS5. Pretty cool, fun racing game. Got it for like $15. But I thought that was cool. It looked like they definitely used AI to make this image. But it kind of puts a little bit of perspective in that we're not the only ones out there that love and really enjoy arcade games. Even your common developer like Ubisoft has an appreciation for these arcade games. Even though they're not actively making them, you know, that's where a lot of these games originated, was from an arcade. So cool to see that. And I thought that theme that they did with that promotion really put that in perspective for us as we follow this stuff every day. There's actually probably more people out there than you think that have an appreciation for this stuff also. So let's see here. Firestarters here saying critics are the quickest to react, right? With just little to react. I tried to listen to that advice too. And like when we get news in the community, sometimes I'll wait till our live stream to talk about it. Just kind of let it digest a little bit, kind of sleep on my thoughts before I come right out and just tell you guys everything. And that's always a good thing I try to think about is, you know, judge things on a full picture, not just small bits of information. King Ed says, like that Defender. Yeah, I thought the Defender was cool because they only made the Defender Partycade. They never made a Defender 3/4 scale. So maybe that's a sign that that's still a high possibility that they'll make a Defender. A true Defender with the proper controls would be nice. And I take that back. They did make a Defender, but they made it in the Mortal Kombat. The really bad cabinet design with those, the marquee that had those fins that came way out. They did make a Defender in that design, and it was no one liked it, but it did have the artwork. Let's see if we can find that to kind of close out the stream tonight. See if I can find an image of it. Here we go. It was on Reddit at one point. So this was it right here. They did it for the 40th anniversary, but it didn't have the proper controls. So that was always kind of, I guess its downfall is it wasn't going to be enjoyable to play it with these controls. And then also that design. This was by far their worst, I thought, form factor design that they ever released. Some people have cabinets in this form factor and they still own them today and they like them. So I guess it wasn't the worst, but you know, it wasn't their best. But that was an actual cabinet that they did make at one point. Hopefully they bring us like an XL with, you know, the right controls moving forward. Arcade1Up made a Defender with wrong controls. Yep. All right, guys. So that was fun. We went almost 2 hours. Had a really good time tonight, hanging out, just, you know, talking all this home arcade stuff. Hopefully we'll get a lot of people rewatch the stream throughout the week. That tends to be what happens. You know, we'll watch, you know, live here. We'll have like 100 people watch, but by the end of the week, you know, if we're lucky, we'll have 400 or 500 people extra that watch throughout the week. And it just, you know, helps because then we get more conversation. We get people in the comment section. Hopefully you guys will put some comments down there and keep this discussion going till next time I stream next Sunday. But I'll see everyone soon. Thanks for hanging out. And make sure to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to Big Edie's Arcade. I'll see everyone in the next one. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye. Oh, I had my mic muted, so you didn't hear me. No sound. Papa Brad's Gaming with $2 more said, thanks for streaming. Welcome back. I appreciate the extra $2. I had to stop the roll credits because we had to bring it back for Papa Brad in his $2 super chat. So that's twice tonight he has sent over and been kind enough to support this channel and help it move forward. And really appreciate that $2. Papa Brad, go check him out. Great channel, does tons of at-home arcades, but also does at-games pinball. He does weekly tournaments. Great guy, longtime viewer of the channel, probably the longest running member we have on this channel. So really appreciate the support, my man. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye.